What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Now, I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the new details we've gotten on Ghost of Tsushima. Now, this is very, very exciting, and to be quite honest with you, this is something that has been what I wanted. If you've watched this channel, if you guys know who I am, I've talked about my worries with Ghost of Tsushima and how I kind of want details on the game itself. Now, let me tell you, this isn't necessarily that, but there are a couple of really big things I think kind of just thrown in here, kind of as just like side things that I think are very, very important. So I'm going to be going over, it's coming from PlayStation Magazine. I'm reading it off of an article. I'm going to go over all of that, give my analysis of it. If you guys like these videos, and you guys seem to really like the Ghost of Tsushima videos, make sure you guys are leaving a like. Make sure you guys are subscribed and have that bell icon rung, because I'm going to be making tons of Ghost of Tsushima videos as we get closer to the release, and then obviously when the game is out. All right, now I may get words wrong just because I'm not very good at reading in general, but let's go through what we learned. And again, I'll talk about kind of the standout things to me afterwards. Okay, so according to PlayStation Magazine's feature on Ghost of Tsushima, the game follows the story of Yin Saki, a samurai who's been taught to fight with honor, but a brutal Mongol invasion to Tsushima leaves him no choice but to linger in the shadows and hunt down Mongolian invaders to get back his homeland. Okay, we knew that. I think that's all pretty much, known as the Ghost of Tsushima. You will learn ninja skills and how to fight against the enemies while they've outnumbered you. As you take more Mongolians down, your name sticks to the top of the enemy's most wanted list. Your main target will be Kodakan, the leader of the invaders. The island of Tsushima will be featuring a lush environment, as already shown in the trailers. And the interesting part is you'll be navigating through the island using your knowledge of the game's world, without getting any hints from a waypoint system. Mongolians have already set up dozens of camps and castles in Tsushima. It would be your call how to attack them and make them flee. As mentioned above, you can either fight with them like a samurai or sneak into their camps to take down them silently as a ghost. Some gadgets and gears like a grappling hook, sticky bombs, and fire arrows will be available in your inventory to give you more options for a precise attack. As you make progress in the game, you'll have new allies helping you out in the dangerous business you have with the Mongolians. However, even things could go south with your friends throughout the story, depending on your actions. Very infamously, right? From the time you decide to fight as a ghost, some characters, including Shimura, Jin's uncle and the Lord of Tsushima, doesn't seem happy with your path you've chosen for the fight. When it comes to visuals, Sucker Punch has put in a lot of effort into designing a minimalistic world and some brilliant cutscenes. The same thing goes for the gameplay, as well as the OPM describes it as a grimy game in the best of ways. Okay, now again, that's not necessarily like everything I wanted. I would have honestly preferred that in a video format. However, again, it comes from PlayStation Magazine, so I can't expect something like that. However, that doesn't rule out, I think, them putting kind of what they introduced in that magazine to put that in video form over the next couple of weeks, truly, because I do think it would be good to see something like that. But there's a couple things we got in here that, to be honest with you, to my knowledge, and I've tried to look up as much as I can on this game, we didn't know before. So one of the things that I read this once before I recorded this video, and I kind of skimmed through it. One of the things that stood out to me just now as I was reading is that ending, is that your allies are going to basically choose to help you or not, depending on your actions. So that does sound very much like Infamous, but in a more modern way. Hopefully, Infamous has its allure, but it was very much like cookie cutter. You do good things or you do bad things. There is a blatant good option if you want to be a hero, and there's blatant bad options, if you want to be red and you just want to be a bad guy, right? And the people that are going to come follow you, because of that, are either good or bad, and they're like plainly good or bad. So you can either like that or hate that. I think you could maybe argue it's outdated, but that's just the way Infamous was. For Ghost of Tsushima, hopefully there's a little bit more built in, but I didn't know that. I didn't even think that was included in this game, but that's very good here. So there's going to be allies that are going to help you out. They're going to be able to choose whether or not to do it. Now, the biggest thing to me, this is the biggest thing that stood out in my mind, was the waypoint, that there is not going. So I don't know how you read that. When I read it, I think so there's no map. There's nothing that's going to guide you in this game from location to location. Now, we don't know that for sure. We don't necessarily know how it works, but maybe it's going to be just like a clean, HUD. Like there's going to be nothing there that's going on, like on your screen besides, you walking around as the character. I like that, and that could be that minimalistic approach, right, where there's not much going on in the corners, and like in Horizon, I think even you could turn all that kind of stuff off, and it really does amplify. I think it amplifies a lot of games. The Last of Us, I think, can do that, and it does amplify a lot of different games. So I like that idea. I think that is a good idea, but that's interesting. And see, that's something right there that I think we should know about going in. I think that's something that's a cool but very different. And by the way, that could also come off to a lot of people as like, I don't know, because again, like maybe it is going more like brutally realistic, and it sounds like it, where it's like, yeah, you literally have to memorize the terrain, the locations. Like you have to know where you're going because the game isn't going to help you. We knew that they were going to set up camps, and remember, I did say stuff like, actually, I kind of predicted that based off of the story trailer, I believe it was. We saw a little bit more gameplay, we saw a little bit more mechanics, and I made a video right after saying, hey, I think they introduced stuff in the story trailer more than they're kind of saying, more than they were focusing on. And one of the things was those like kind of camps, in that, well, how are you going to be able to take them out, and what happens because of it, stuff like that. And it seems like this, finally, they're giving more information on it, right? There are these camps all around. You get to pick how you want to handle it, but the goal is to, eliminate them, depending on how you want to do it, but the goal is to eliminate them, and then when you do it, they will remember that. And your name will go higher up, which I would just assume means higher enemies, like different kind of versions of enemies that are going to be more powerful. Maybe it's harder to take on the camps as the game progresses, so maybe literally these camps are going to get harder as the game progresses. Games have done something like that before. I think that's a good idea. So, like, again, that is, see, when I say that, even to myself, even if I want to pretend like nobody's watching this video, even if I'm just saying it to myself, it makes me feel at least a little bit more confident as to what I'm getting myself into, because, again, really, before a lot of this stuff, we don't know. Like, we know the base story, but it's pretty simplistic, and there's not that much going on. But not even that. There is a lot going on, but they're not telling us a lot of stuff, I should say, right? So we're going into this game. We know the basic story arc that we're going to be participating in, but we didn't necessarily know minute to minute what we were going to be doing. Now we know a little bit more. We know we're going to be going to different camps and doing things. Are we going to be able to do anything more than just go around to camps? Like, is there other side things to do? Again, that would be kind of good to know. We know that there's abilities, right? So, or like gear that's going to be given to you. So maybe there's like a leveling up system. That is, again, good to know. See, again, what I don't love, I love a lot, and I think it gets kind of twisted. Maybe it's just because of how I talk about it, because maybe I give like negatives first. It does get twisted. I really love the potential of this game. I want this game to be good. I'm getting this game day one. There was never any doubt in my mind that I'm going to support this game. Okay, I'm going to support Sucker Punch for as long as they're around. Dating back to Sly Cooper, loved it. It's one of my favorite franchises ever. Infamous, I supported all of them, and I love them all in different ways. Second Son, probably not, but First Light, I liked a lot, and I've talked about that before. So when I sound like I'm down or sound like I'm doubtful, basically, on Ghost of Tsushima, it's more me just, I'm kind of giving tough love. I want this game to be really, really good, but it's not like they just like bleed confidence based off of what they did with Infamous Second Son. So I want this game to be very, very solid. And like I've said in these past videos, I think a lot of people understand where I'm coming from. I think a lot of people agree. Like, we're all stoked, we're all excited, but I don't think it's wrong to want to like ask to see more about this game. Like, I don't want to wonder too much, and I've talked about that. What's the balance between a game that like gives too much or gives too little? Honestly, a lot of it comes down to the trust that the company has already built up. The Last of Us Part 2, we've seen more than Ghost of Tsushima, but in the grand scheme of things, with how big The Last of Us Part 2 is, I think we've seen next to nothing. But why is that okay? Well, because we trust Naughty Dog, and not just that. It's not just we're giving blind trust. Naughty Dog has proven it literally time and time again that they're fine. Sucker Punch, it's not like they're not talented. I'm not saying that, but I want information on this game. And so I'll even give a pro and con just for this. Pro is I'm glad we get to hear about all this stuff, but con is it's in the PlayStation Magazine. It's not in a video format, at least yet. Not everybody's going to hear about it, so it's not going to, make like mainstream. It's not going to make it into like every household that wants this game or has one time been interested in this game. And again, it's weird that we have to find out this way. That it seems like, once again, I'm having to read into these things. I'm telling you, okay, well, there may be choice. I mean, they did say there's choices, but like, how would that affect things, and how's that going to affect characters? And okay, well, now we know we're getting abilities. You could have just told us earlier on we were getting abilities or gear, or again, like the camps, like they're going to remember you, and maybe that's going to make the camps more difficult. And these are things I predicted in the story trailer, but once again, they haven't told us it. So it's just, again, another somewhat worrisome thing where I'm very glad we've gotten this information. And I do think there is a lot to learn from this. I think, again, in my mind, the biggest thing is the map, is the fact that it doesn't seem like, I mean, maybe there'll be a map, but there won't be like a here's where you need to go. Like, it'll just kind of tell you, you need to go here, and you need to figure out, how am I going to get there? Where is even there, right? I like that idea. I think that makes it a more realistic, I mean, that in a way, like, that kind of reminds me of Death Stranding without it being Death Stranding. Like, it's a different kind of Death Stranding. So, I think that's like the biggest thing there. I think that's an interesting little thing, but it's a big thing. That is a big aspect of this game. That's a big detail that I'm glad we know now, 2 months before the game comes out. Again, I bag on them. I want this game to be good. I have said it in the past, and I'll say it again. I think this game is an example of a game that you need to kind of show to us, that we need to see a lot of this game, because you need to prove to people, you need to really swing people in your direction to get this game. It's not a game where you can sit back, say, well, they'll know that it's going to be an amazing game, so they'll just buy it on a whim. Yes, people will. I'm one of them. A lot of you guys are one of them, but it's also because we trust them and we like Sucker Punch and all this kind of, that we've built up a history with them, stuff like that. But if you want to be if you want to be like a Spider-Man in terms of like sales success, or God of War, or Uncharted, or Last, like stuff like that, I mean, the game needs to be really, really good, and you need to show us some stuff. So I'm honestly thinking that some of the stuff said in this article will eventually make its way to some sort of video. I think we do need a video breakdown at some point over the next couple weeks or month or so, probably not anything more than a month, just so we start to see this stuff visually in front of us. But guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Are you excited about these new details? What do you think about them? What do you think is like the most important thing to you guys? Like I said, mine is the whole waypoint system, but let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, podcast now, hit that bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I'll be still covering Ghost of Tsushima every couple of weeks, or obviously whenever there's anything new on this game, I'll cover it. We'll lead up right to Ghost of Tsushima. We'll play it. We'll have loads of videos there as well. So lots of stuff coming Ghost of Tsushima wise. Okay, so thank you all again so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.